Hi everybody, thank you for coming. Of course, first, let's take a moment of silence. Okay, so we're here obviously because there is another tragic shooting. I knew when I felt numb that something was really wrong. It's gotten to the point where this has become the norm, and it's way past time. We have to do something. So the first public words from Ted Cruz were, the Democrats and the press are politicizing this. I mean, come on. No shame. The Republicans have no shame, okay? So what the Democrats need to do is they need to step up. No more votes on the floor. See what Republicans voted no, and we're gonna call them out. They don't care. They need to do something. We need to stop this, okay? No more thoughts and prayers. Democrats need to step it up, okay? Republicans, they don't care. They'll get their way. They'll do what they want. The Democrats have to be politically correct, have to do everything right. You know, we have to be polite. We can't raise our voices. We can't curse. We can't call people out. You know, so right now, hey, we can blame the Republicans all we want, but the Democrats are letting them do it. We're stepping all over them. Okay, this is ridiculous. We have 19 kids, 10 years old. I mean, every member of Congress should be required to go down to that crime scene and see those kids. Okay? So I'm not going to say much else. I'm too pissed off already, and you know, that's pretty much it. I want to thank everybody for coming.
So heartbroken, angry, pissed off. I have no words for these children. They come to my school and I can't answer their questions. And I can't say anymore that this is the greatest country in the world, because it isn't.
It isn't.
It isn't. It's not anymore.
And the answer isn't to leave. The answer is to fix it.
To stay and fight. And
exactly.
And try to change things for them, for my kids, and for these kids that are coming here with the hope of a better life. So that's all I have to say.
We are retired special ed teachers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. And we shudder to think what we would have had to say to our kids that we had to go to school this week. We've been through the active shooter drills. Do the kids get it? Not really. And too many of them think, maybe like this young man thought, life's just a video game, shoot them up and then move on. We live in fear of what our grandchildren are facing when they go to school. Our own kids could go to school with relatives. We didn't think about it every day when we sent our kids. Maybe after Columbine we thought about it a little, but it wasn't constantly in our thoughts. Now with grandchildren, it's going to be constantly in our thoughts. Will they come home that day? Because this happens, it can happen anywhere, and it does happen anywhere. And it has to end somehow or another.
The kid would have had a more difficult time getting a beer than getting an assault weapon. That's disgusting.
Have to bombard our senators with messages as common sense regulations.
What makes schools such a target? They're easy. They're easy and they're innocent. Yeah, but what in the shooter's mind takes him to a school instead of to a shopping center? I mean, that happens
The
too.
shock value.
Yeah.
The attention it brings.
Attention, yeah.
I mean, you have little kids shot up with AK, whatever. I don't even know enough about guns to know what the hell they're called.
Yeah.
With machine guns, weapons of war.
Yep.
I mean, they're what's going to get more attention than that?
We tend to think of the shooters as not thinking, you know. But I guess they have an agenda.
The shooter should not have access to the gun.
Well, right.
That's the problem.
Right.
You know, we need better mental health. Yeah, that's another one of our 5 million problems, of course. But how are they getting the guns? I mean, to even get to the point where we're thinking, oh my God, what is the shooter thinking? No, I can't even get there. How are you getting this freaking gun? How are you getting these weapons? We can't use mental health as an excuse. It's just, it's insanity. It's absolutely, I mean, like I said, we're just numb to it. It is absolutely insane. You sit down and really think about it, that an 18-year-old could get access to these weapons. I'm going to walk in, I've turned 18, here's my ID. Okay, here you go. Here's your weapons of war. Go crazy, kid.
Right. Well, the average philosophy or reasoning on that was that for 150 years, 18-year-olds in Texas have been able to buy a long rifle. Well, a long rifle is a hunting gun, not an AK-47 or whatever the hell they are. And he said it's not even in the last 2 decades that it's caused this problem. And I'm like, well, when do you think the AK-47s became available? But that was not part of his.
And then their solution is just have one door. Just one door.
Just one
in
door.
School.
Right.
So if there's a fire, you idiot. What happens to these children?
Well, there was a guy in Pennsylvania, one of the last tragedies ago, however many years ago. He was a school board member somewhere in upstate PA, and his solution was arm each classroom with a bucket of rocks, because the kids were really good at Little League and their aim was really good. Bucket of rocks. Imagine they were taking him out of his head. Yeah, the lengths that they will go to dance around, get rid of the guns.
Well, when Abbott said that about 60, it's been on the books for 60 years, that 18-year-olds could buy.
Oh, it was longer than that.
And then he went on to say that mental health is on the increase. And I'm yelling at the TV, saying, isn't that a good reason to change that law?
Yep.
Can I take a second here just to read the full the Second Amendment, because it'll take 10 seconds. The Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. December 17th, 1791. That's the Second Amendment.
Right.
How many of these dipshits out here actually know what the Second Amendment says? That's the Second Amendment.
Well,
They don't
got
know
the
those
last
first
sentence
few
right.
words.
Shall not be infringed. That's what they had. Shall not be infringed. And
There's no militia out there.
and in 17 something, yeah, that was people needed their guns to get dinner.
Well, a lot has changed since then.
Yeah. Right. That's why we have amendments that go past.
They don't know about those. They don't know about those.
They know the first and the second. They realize that there's about 23 more.
But what we need to do is vote. And we need to get people to vote. And I have kids in college who are fed up and they're getting their friends and registering to vote, and that's what we need to get.
I agree with that 100%. We also need to hold our leaders accountable.
Yeah, right.
We need to vote them in and then make sure they do what they're going to say they're going to do. Not become lifelong politicians, become wealthy, and work for the special interest. They got to start working for us again. You know, yeah, voting is so important, but we got to hold them accountable. That's the job I think that we're not doing once we have these elections. We're not holding them accountable. We're not. You know, I mean, how long are they actually governing before they're running for re-election again?
Yeah, right.
Congress, 2 years. So what? 6 months, a year? We have to hold them accountable.
So how do we do that? How do we hold them accountable?
This, myself, I'm all over Facebook. I ran for commissioner. I have a loud mouth. I've got a lot of people against me, and I don't care.
Right.
I will call anybody out who does the wrong thing.
I agree.
The lawmakers
how does
here.
that get to?
That's what
The next
I think.
level.
This is what we have to. I don't know, but this is where I'm starting. To get the next level, I don't know. You know, I mean, I'm looking for that answer, but you have to speak out, and we don't. Right. We don't always have to be polite. We don't always have to worry about not offending people. Republicans are great at that. Their playbook. I mean, look, they're dirty. We want to be so nice and get along with everybody. Where has that gotten us? You know, they go low, we go high. Remember those famous words in 2016? What did that get us? What did that get us? Michelle Obama, I love her, but she said, they go low, we go high. And then a couple months later, what happened? How about they go low, we go just as low? You know, Merrick Garland, the end of Obama's term, McConnell said, no, we're not doing this, okay? The end of Trump's term, something very similar, Amy Coney Barrett. So to change gears a little bit, we always want to blame the Republicans. So if Roe versus Wade is overturned, we've had 2 seats slip away. Republicans did what Republicans do. What did we do to stop that? So a lot of people don't seem to be with me on this, and that's fine, but that's my style, to call these people out and to just to play as dirty as they do, because it works for them. You know, we figure everything out, get solve problems, then we can start being nice again. Until then, there's too much at stake.
I think people are getting angry enough.
Sure. Thank you.
People are starting to get angry enough that my hope is that this is going to change something. And all of them have been horrible, but this one has felt different, I think, because I just think we're all just so fed up.
So like the first thing I said is, like, when I was numb, like, I almost had no reaction. I'm thinking that to me is a problem. Like I'm at the point where it's like, oh, okay, well, what's going to happen tomorrow? And then I started thinking, like, wait a minute. It's gotten to the point where I'm just like,
I think what's happening is every time something like this happens, people are outraged. They get together, they do rallies or whatever, and then it happens again. And then it kind of gets, you know, they go on with their lives, and then it happens again, and again, and again, and again. So the insanity where this is going.
Right now, we have a good opportunity to get the right person voted into the Senate, right? And that's my next step, is to start working for John Fetterman.
Not just John Fetterman, though. There's the PA legislature that also needs to be changed. And so, absolutely.
well, speaking of the Senate, Joe Manchin would have had his ass in gear by now.
Yeah.
There's another thing to blame the Democrats on. Joe Manchin, you're letting one person hold us hostage.
And Kristen
Get that
Sinema's
guy,
not far behind.
grab him by the neck, and like, look, you know? I mean, like, again, we vote these people in and we don't hold them accountable. We got it. We just got it. We got to speak up, and we can't worry about pissing people off because we're pissed off. You have every right to come out here and speak and say what we need to say.
I had a brief exchange with Gina Curry the other day. And so she, responding to something that she was, and so she got back to me and said they brought it up in state legislature that day. They begged, and it was still a no change to the gun laws in Pennsylvania. So we have to change the complexion of Pennsylvania legislature. Politics it starts at home. It starts local.
Exactly what we're doing.
Local, state, and then.
And you have to vote every election that you can, because let's face it, if we're having problems getting our garbage trucks taken care of, the president isn't going to handle that. Your local council person will. So for day-to-day matters, you need that, and you need to vote your primary too. I mean, vote everything possible. I remember speaking to Gina Curry I was at the Democratic Committee meeting in March, and she actually said something to the effect of, make sure you vote because Pennsylvania is dangerously close to becoming like Texas.
Right.
I think also at the local level, we need to vet our candidates a little more closely. Like, look, are you willing to take these 2 years and work your ass off for the people, not be tempted by a lobbyist or a special interest? Are you going to go in there and you're going to do what you have to do, not worried about, your job or your pension? I mean, we need to get people in there that care.
The last time I checked, Wayne LaPierre wasn't president. So,
Right. I think he's headed for jail.
good.
I mean, Delaware County, we flipped, so we kind of assume that everything's going well in the county. But step outside the county, and not so much. So we really have to, and about the primaries, you know, people come in, you know, I'm a senior citizen, and, you know, like, it was easier for me to push the button, but we made it possible for people to come in to vote. Now, they come in and they complain, especially the senior citizens. I can't stand that they're doing this on paper. I miss the machine. I want the machine. Well, the machines were broken. There's no more machines. This is how you do it. But it forces people, because we have to now put pen to paper. You can't just go in and push a button and vote for. How many people got into office just because they were sitting on a ballot for one party or another, and people just go in and they push the button? And so now they're forced to look at each candidate, and they may not know who the hell they're voting for, but the idea now is there. Oh, I mean, we have them come up to us at the voting table. Who's this person? Why should I? I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't answer that for you. That's homework that you needed to do at home. You know, if you wanna go take an hour somewhere and go through things and come back, that's fine.
Well, don't worry, because we got the monkeypox now, so we're able to steal the next election. So, you know, we got everything under control.
Yeah. I stand on a street corner in Lansdowne by myself, and for a long time it was Black Lives Matter, because the demographic that flows along that corridor is largely black, largely working class, and so the message is, your vote counts. Please use your vote. It counts. It counts. I urge everyone to get out on a street corner with a vote sign between now and November. If you're all by yourself, who cares? Stand there. You'll get people that honk at you in a good way. For the most part, it's like my audience. It's not that hard, and it's not that scary. As long as you don't impede traffic, either pedestrian or motor, you are free to stand on a corner with a sign. I urge people to do it. That's grassroots. You know, and it's this little thing. You do it for an hour, a couple times a week, and people get used to see. What I want are people to see me and go home and say, you know, I saw the craziest lady on Lansdowne, Baltimore, but you know, she was talking about, and then they can go into the whole Black Lives Matter thing and dissect it at the dinner table. I want people to go home and pull in their driveway still remembering. That's why I always say, make signs like that motorists can read. You know, that they shouldn't, these are really too small. So they should be just like that. That one's pretty good. You have to be able to see it across the street going 30 miles an hour. And then when you get home, maybe you pull in the driveway and say, I saw the craziest thing. This crazy white, gray-haired lady. But people know me now. People look for me.
A few years ago, I guess it was 2018, when we were being greeters at the polls, my state rep, Dan Corcoran, told me that there were a lot of Democrats in Aston. They were just afraid to make themselves known. And I thought about that over the next couple of years, and I said, you know what, I'm not afraid anymore to put a political sign in my yard. So I had a bunch, and I got into a competition with my neighbor because suddenly he had more than I did. But I found that during that time, people were doing a lot of walking through the neighborhood, and you started to know where people lived, and you started to know who was on what side, and people started talking to each other. And where in 2016 there were a lot of Trump signs on my street, there was only one on my block in 2020, and there were a whole lot of Biden-Harris signs. So you wouldn't think something like putting signs up for your candidates in your yard is that important, but I'm beginning to think it really is. When you see a whole lot of Mastriano, what that guy's name, signs, like in my sister's neighborhood in Bucks County, there are people who vote because that name's familiar. Oh, I've seen that name on signs. I'll vote for that guy. Not knowing what he stands for at all. So I want to know when I can get my signs because I need them.
Well, it's up to us to educate people on who these people are on the signs.
Always make them.
But sometimes buying them is supporting the thing.
Oh, I understand that, but
Until they're available.
yes.
Sometimes the local party offices have them for free. You just have to check.
Yeah. I just don't think they have them yet.
Right, well, they're still trying to figure out the Republican candidate. Whether we want the witch doctor.
It's like a guillotine firing squad choice, isn't it? Pretty much.
So we got some pretty good ideas today. What do we do? Do more rallies like this. We get out there, we talk, we share our ideas.
Because that's the same as what she's talking about, standing on the corner. 'Cause
Exactly.
People, it's Memorial Day weekend, so a lot of people have left town already. But a regular weekend, media will be crowded, and people will notice.
It's contagious. I mean, people are going to see what she's doing. They're going to love it. They're going to go.
But it can't be just a one-shot.
No, people are going to see what I'm doing. Some people are going to hate me. Other people are going to be like, hey, that guy's a loudmouth. Let's go with him. It's, like I said, it's contagious.
I just want to point out, if you haven't noticed, this is our vintage sign. This is from the first rally I went to in 22 years ago this month.
Oh, wow.
And here we are, doing the same thing 22 years later.
Great.
So then I looked around and I found a house.
Anybody have anything they'd like to say? Anybody else want to speak?
Just one comment on what the woman over there said about
Sure.
being by yourself on a street corner.
Yeah.
Remember, that's how Greta started.
Yeah,
And look what that's been.
absolutely.
Worldwide.
So I think, one person can make a difference.
Absolutely. Starts with one person, one idea.
Right. And one other thing, I saw a wonderful sign down in Houston the other day on TV, and the sign said, the only thing easier to buy than an assault rifle is a Republican.
And Drew.
That should be a bumper sticker.
Yes.
It should be. Let's go home and make that sign.
Why did they not cancel the NRA convention? And all they brought up was, we're not changing. You got the fathead from Mar-a-Lago.
Right.
You got the guy from Texas, the senator that needs a spine transplant. And they both should be held accountable for accessory to murder.
Yeah.
Every one of them.
Well, you know what they weren't
Okay.
allowed to bring?
Yeah.
So-
Oh, I know.
You know what they weren't allowed to bring? They weren't allowed to bring guns. I could stand here all day. I don't know about anyone else, but I mean, other than that, if we're going to start wrapping up.
Yes, thank
Oh,
you.
absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you so much for coming. Great what everyone had to say. Terry's got the right idea. Stand out there with your sign. I'm going to keep being the loudmouth all over social media. We got to just keep doing it. It's so sad why we're here, but something good can maybe come out of it.